everybody? Welcome back to the Lunchroom Syndicate. There was no live reacting this week. Just didn't really feel up to it. Plus, I had some stuff to do. So I did watch the game though, and honestly, it really was just me. Didn't really feel up to doing a live react this week because I just didn't feel like it. But this week, so we're gonna do a post game reaction. Jags lose again. This time to the Vikings, 12-7 in a game where Mac Jones started because Trevor Lawrence is hurt, which I do. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess if we were in the playoff hunt or weren't 2-7, he'd probably be playing. Just a hunch. I don't know that for sure. But the Jags lost to another close one, another game under 5 points. Their sixth loss of the season that way. What could have been, right? As the Jags fall 12-7, only giving up 4 field goals in the game, no touchdowns allowed. The offense once again was just non-existent in this game, other than one real drive in the first half where they went 70 yards in 9 plays, and beyond that, it was not good offensively. Shout out to the defense for bending and not breaking in this game. I would definitely say it wasn't an overwhelmingly great performance. Again, giving up 12 points is good, and I don't want to give too much shit, but the Vikings had way too many long drives in this game. I had a 12-play drive, a 17-play drive, another 7-play drive, a 14-play drive, a 16-play drive, and then the Jags actually did a pretty good job late in the game of actually getting off the field. So overall, I said the Jags played pretty well defensively. A bit too long of drives, not getting off the field in time, and allowing the Vikings. The Vikings start 5 for 6 on third downs. They didn't give up another third down the rest of the game. So, I mean, the defense played well. I'm not going to give them too much shit, but they gave up 402 total yards. So, realistically, you got to be like, that's not great. But, again, the defense is not, for once, not the reason why the Jaguars lost this game. The offense outside, again, one drive was basically non-existent. They did not come alive at all, unlike the last several games where they fall apart in the first half and then come alive in the second. 143 total yards by the Jags offense, against 70 of that on one drive, basically half, 73 the rest of the drives. The team went 3 and out or worse on I'm not going to count the end of the half one. On 5 different drives. And then they turned the ball over on each of their final 3 possessions when they were still in the game, in increasingly terrible ways. And that was really, really bad. Mac Jones was the cause of all 3 of the fumbles, or all 3 of the turnovers. One was a bad snap that you can say what you can, if you want to say it wasn't quite his fault. It was. It's irrelevant either way. We got the Mac Jones experience and why he's back up now, as he didn't really come in and lead a very good game. Now, whether that's on the coaching staff or on Mac Jones is something that can be debated until the cows come home. I'm not going to debate that. I don't think this is a surprise performance offensively. I think the surprise performance was defensively, as defense got 3 interceptions in this game after having 2 all season. Although some of that was just Darnold playing very poor football and forcing some throws that he shouldn't have forced. But it was nice to get some turnovers. But again, not getting off the field, especially early on, not getting the third downs in some cases, and then there was just, it seems like every week, 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times in a week, you see the defensive line get some pressure, and they lose contain, and the quarterback rushes or makes a play, and it's a decent size to a big play, and it's really frustrating to continue to watch that consistently. Trayvon Walker had the only sack in this game, and it was actually quite an important sack. It was a very and something that he's been apt to do this year, which is come up with a big 4th down sack or pressure or second half scenario and that make a big play, and that is encouraging for him. And he's up to 7.5 sacks this season, so he should be able to hit his 10 mark going forward. Last year he hit 10, so he has a good chance of breaking his career high and continuing to improve each week. And I think we can eliminate the bust label for him, even though, yes, I probably would still rather have Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, but I don't think he's a bust at this point. Josh Hine didn't have a sack. No one else had a sack in this game. And just allowing too many big drives in this game. And that was a bit of a problem all game long. And not getting off the field. The Vikings had the ball for 42 minutes in this game. That is unacceptable. And for being blunt and being honest, that's a big reason why the Jags lost this game is the offense couldn't get drives going at all. And they had one drive that was over 5 plays, I think. And that's just not good. And you got to give the defense a ton of credit for being able to. They had 2 drives that lasted more than 5 plays in the entire game. You gotta give the defense credit because they could have worn down. They could have started. The dams could have started breaking, but it never happened. Especially after the turnovers late, they kept the team in the game as best as they could, and the Jags just could not do anything with it. And that's, it's not surprising, but it is a bit disappointing. Next week, we travel to Detroit. I think it's a road game, I'm pretty sure. We traveled to Detroit for just an absolutely brutal game against the Detroit Lions. I don't have faith it's going to be a close game before we go to a bye week. And then that's my expectation, that would be where I would expect a coaching change at that point. But I was thinking about this, and I said, who's going to take over? Who realistically? Who on this coaching staff would you want to take over? Not even just who could take over. Who are you going to want to take over, honestly? Because you're not giving the Press Taylor. He's probably gone, too, at the same time. At least I'd hope so. You're sure as hell ain't giving the Press Taylor. I think I just mentioned him. Mike, defensively, you have Ryan Nielsen, who has not had a great year. They're playing better recently, but has not had a great year. You do have on offense, you do have a former head coach in Mike McCoy that is in theory possible. I would be thrilled about that, but whatever. At this point, it doesn't matter. But nonetheless, that's your guys that are realistically your candidates as your offense and defense coordinators or a guy who had coaching experience in Mike McCoy, and that doesn't exactly sound appealing. And this team is still fighting, and that's the other thing. So the team is still fighting. They're still trying. They're just not winning. They're not finishing. They're not. Again, the offense once again looks even more broken than it did without Trevor, and I don't even know what to say to that, but nonetheless, it is what it is, and I think if there is a change, it'll be in the bye week. If they don't make the change, Doug will last the season, but I would be surprised to see Doug and Trent, neither one of them last. I expect both of them to be out of a job after the season, after just the complete disaster that this season is, and that's really what it is an absolute nightmare of a season. There's really no other way of describing it. And it just continues. And now Trevor's hurt, and you don't know how severe the injury is. There was some reports out there that surgery was involved, but then you heard the other way. Well, no, that's not on the table at the moment. I don't know. And at this point, I don't know what to believe. It would not surprise me if he didn't play for the rest of the season. At this point, there is really no reason to if he's hurt. There just isn't. I know he's a competitor. He will want to play, and that's understandable. But, folks, if I sound defeated, it's because I am. After everything that's happened this season, I just don't have. Obviously, being 2-8, being tied for the league worst record again. And we're one loss away from guaranteeing a losing season. And I don't know. I just don't know. And it's tough. It's tough. That's all I can really say. I don't have You know, I mean, I pretty much know the seasons have been over since we started 0-4. You know what I mean? You know, so it's not a surprise, but, you know, each loss, each close loss is brutal, and this team is just, you know, you are what your record is, but it sucks. It sucks. I mean, this game wasn't as close as the score indicated realistically, but you know, what do you say to that? You know, but we're gonna call it. Sorry, I just did some recording for my gaming channels. That's gonna do it for this recap. Probably not doing a live reaction next week at all either. Probably just do a post game, which is not gonna be pretty. Sorry, I don't have very good expectations going into next season or next week with the Lions. I would expect a pretty nasty blowout. But hey, who knows? Maybe the Jags will surprise me. That'll do it for me. Until next week, everybody. Deuces.